everything was still all good until he started, you know what I'm saying, like doing his own thing, getting him a little buzz, getting a little money. He just got the big head and just started like the feelings he been feeling probably deep down inside that he was scared to put out. He let that out once he got a name.
This was what Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden, better known as Youngboy Never Broke Again, or NBA Youngboy's childhood friends, said about them growing up together. What he failed to realize is that the Louisiana rapper was about to become one of the most dangerous men in the hip-hop community. So, why exactly are rappers all over the world terrified of this man? Have you noticed how neither Kendrick Lamar, Drake, or J. Cole mentioned him in their diss tracks and kept Youngboy's name out of their mouths? Let's find out. October 20th, 1999. Gaulden was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, but broke his neck when he was just a toddler. He had to wear a head brace for a very long time until his spine healed, which explains the scars on his forehead. He was raised by his maternal grandmother since his father was sentenced to 55 years in prison and couldn't be there for his son. His mother was a rapper and went by the name Ms. Shahonda, but wasn't present in his childhood either. He dropped out of school in the 9th grade and was sent to juvenile detention for a robbery charge. This was where he started writing lyrics for the songs that would make his career. He perfected his craft at a very young age when in juvenile detention. Since his father was in prison too, he sent his son a letter that read, "I never had a plan B. This is what I was set on becoming." Youngboy often quotes this in interviews and song lyrics. He had a troubled childhood with the lack of parents and his only protector dying from heart failure at the age of 10. Music was the only thing that kept him going. One of his friends was so inspired by Gaulden's rapping and lyricism that he decided to write music on his own. Unfortunately, he died during a robbery at a young age. Growing up on the streets of Baton Rouge shaped Youngboy to be the person he is today, and it wasn't easy. He was sent to a family home where he would often get bullied. Youngboy recalled that time of his life and said, "I used to get beat up inside the group home for no reason. The other boys would put their hands on me, and I would look up like, 'Why are you hitting me, bro? What did I do?' It made me discover another side of me that I never glorified or liked. I found out how the person that you don't want to do that with. I never understood all the evilness or wrong because I was showered by so much love from this one person." He started producing and recording music using a microphone that he bought from a nearby Walmart at the age of 14. His first mixtape, titled Life Before Fame, was released in 2015, followed by Mind of a Menace, Mind of a Menace 2, and Before I Go. In 2016, his music was available on YouTube and no streaming platforms. Kyle Montana Claiborne was a local rapper who was touched by the then 16-year-old's music and decided to help him with his career. He drove Gaulden for hours just to play shows for $500 a pop. This helped Youngboy's name buzz around on the internet, especially when Montana created the Never Broke Again label. Keep in mind that he was just a minor then, and when he and Montana signed a deal with Fee Banks, the person who helped Lil Wayne kickstart his Young Money label, things were about to change. But Gaulden would often find himself in trouble with the law. Banks would always help his prodigy out. This wasn't a one-time thing. Youngboy was going to jail back and forth for several months. This didn't stop Banks or Montana from pursuing greatness. After all, Banks said that he saw the same kind of potential in the 16-year-old that he found in Lil Wayne. Speaking of Cash Money Records, the co-founder, Brian Birdman Williams, wanted to see Youngboy and flew him out all the way to Miami. Gaulden's journey to stardom was starting very early. This gave him time to do some good and also risk everything by doing just as much as bad. Some of the major record labels were fighting for young Gaulden, who had a portfolio of 8 mixtapes. But the war was put to a halt because their young star found himself in some serious trouble with the law. November 28, 2016, Youngboy was scheduled to perform in Austin, Texas, when he was arrested by the police for firing guns into a crowd from his car. The non-fatal Baton Rouge shooting happened a few hours after a friend of his died, making the case even more complicated. The worst part? He just turned 17, which meant that he was going to be tried as an adult. He paid a post-conviction bail of $50,000 and accepted a deal to plead guilty. He was charged with attempted first-degree murder, but was let off the hook with just 9 months in a prison cell and 3 years of probation. If the plea deal and $50,000 weren't paid, he would have been behind bars for up to 40 years. Firing bullets at your fans is probably something no rapper has ever done before, which put his name in the headlines and made a mark for himself in the streets. During his 2017 sentencing, he he made a $2 million deal with Atlantic Records. The judge used his music as evidence in court for promoting and normalizing violence, but he ended up walking out and working on music. Within a year, he was making hit after hit, breaking records, and selling millions of records worldwide. Youngboy's career was taking off to unimaginable heights, putting him right next to some of the biggest names in the genre. He knew that a 40-year prison sentence was something he couldn't afford now that he was a global sensation, but it's safe to say that he didn't learn his lesson. In February 2018, he was arrested on a fugitive warrant for attempted evasion of arrest on charges of weapons possession, kidnapping, and assault. This was no scenario where Youngboy was accused of being guilty because there was video evidence of Youngboy physically abusing Jania Jackson, his girlfriend, and dragging her into a hotel room. Gaulden stayed in jail for just a month and paid a $75,000 bond. During this situation, Jania wanted to protect her then-boyfriend's name by telling fans that it was not what it looked like.
I'm good. You feel me?
It looks like there was a lot more to the story than we might think. Knowing that Gaulden was still very young when he was exposed to the lifestyle of a world-famous rapper, it was probably a very dangerous environment for Jania. Now, he had a completely different dynamic with his close friends, especially those he knew before he achieved his fame. Take a look at his friendship with G-Money, real name Garrett Burton. These two grew up together to end up being in rival gangs, TBG and NBA. At some point, NBA Youngboy even called G-Money his big bro. But once he earned fame and the millions of dollars started rolling in, it was like YB was dropping dead weight. Initially, G-Money was a much bigger artist than Gaulden. But because of the drama and beef between them, the back-and-forth diss tracks gave Youngboy a clear-cut path to stardom. Once he was out of prison in 2017, he went back to work and released AI Youngboy on August 4th. When fans listened to the lyrics closely, they realized that many of the songs were disses at G-Money, and in some special cases, they were threats. But what caused these two to fall out in the first place? In one of his interviews, G-Money revealed what no one would have expected to hear in the rap community.
Not really. He mad about his sister too, though.
About his sister?
Yeah, I had fucked her a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he mad about that. He wasn't really tripping on it back then, though. You know what I'm saying? He be calling me big brother and shit. You hear me? I guess he just let that fame and shit get to his head. Now he feel like he just this new nigga, whoever he supposed to be, whoever he called himself.
The two continued to wage war against each other on social media, calling one another out and threatening to throw hands or worse. G-Money then released one of his most popular songs, Industry. And yes, this was a diss at YB that had fans raise all kinds of questions. By now, Gaulden had become a bigger artist, so whenever G-Money would go to interviews or Instagram Live, he'd always be asked about his relationship with Youngboy. On September 10, 2017, Burton was on his way out of his Dallas Drive music studio after recording another Youngboy diss when a car pulled up in front of him. G's brother reported that someone shot him a total of 18 times. Whoever wanted the rapper gone made sure he was gone for good. The 22-year-old was going to sign with Atlantic Records and was on his way to make the deal the very next day, but the person in the car didn't let that happen. Now, Burton was a respected rapper in Baton Rouge, but because of the beef with NBA, he had a lot of ops. It looked like even when 6 feet under the ground, Youngboy still had to make sure that he was on top of the rap game. On February 23, 2024, Ava Burton, G-Money's mother, received a distressing call about her son's grave being vandalized. She rushed to the cemetery expecting a little graffiti or waste on the grave, but found it completely demolished with a hammer. I was more mad than I was hurt. I couldn't understand why someone would do something like this. When someone is dead, you let the dead rest in peace. You don't do that, his mother said, still grieving after all these years. While the Burton family mourned their loss in 2017, Youngboy was basically admitting to murder in his lyrics. This was like a YNW Melly case, but 10 times worse. YB was making it big now that one of his ops and biggest artists from his rival gang was out of the picture. But here's where things get even more interesting. Apart from signing the deal with Atlantic Records, G-Money was also about to meet his friend and fellow record label artist, Fredo Bang, who was just about to be released from prison. Fredo was asked to stay behind bars for another few weeks. Law enforcement feared that he would either go out to seek vengeance for his friend's murder. There was also the possibility that he'd end up having the same fate as G-Money in the process. The gang war intensified when more people got involved. TGB's BLVD Quick and Youngboy's brother, OG33, were in the same prison, and BLVD claimed that he beat OG because of G-Money's murder.
That morning, I walked up to his bed, woke him up, punched him in his shit, stomped him out. He shitted on himself and told and checked out. Told the people he cannot be around me or Fredo Bang.
Soon, Youngboy's manager, Big Dump, was shot right outside his home. Fredo was released from prison after the shooting. Things were about to get very ugly. Fredo and Beloved Quick were on a mission to take back the streets and make a name for themselves in the rap game, bigger than Youngboy was capable of. They also wanted violence so they could avenge G-Money after all this time. Gauldin wasn't backing down either because he threatened the entire TGB crew, saying they'd end up like G-Money for shooting his manager. The diss tracks rolled in with Quick and Bang, releasing single after single. The beef was completely getting out of control. Things took a wild turn when Youngboy's mother hopped on Instagram Live to diss the two rappers from TGB. When Quick responded and insulted YB's mother on a separate Insta Live, where she humiliated the rapper to thousands of viewers.
Then I saw him on fucking Instagram, YouTube, whatever, crying yesterday about, oh, his mama put my name in her mouth, and that's fucked up, and I swear to God, man, she better keep my name out her mouth. I'm sorry, boo, I'm sorry I put your name in your mouth, because I saw you crying. She looked like a man. She ugly. She got man features. I'm sorry, boo. I'm sorry for talking about you, because you look like a ball. You got round features, boo. I'm sorry. She want to be a comedian so bad. Bitch, you want to be a rapper so bad.
Gauldin's mother hilariously imitated Quick and made him look like a fool, and the fans loved every second of it. But even though these two were handling their beef separately, with YB's mom winning, the rapper wasn't going to let anyone disrespect his mother like that. For someone who's part of his rival gang, talking smack about Youngboy's mother was one ticket to a coffin, and that's exactly what happened. On November 26, 2018, Quick was found dead at an apartment complex at Millerville Road. He was just 25 years old. The Baton Rouge Police Department made the connections and suspected that all the recent homicides had something to do with this rap beef. Every road led to NBA Youngboy, who was a makeshift mafia boss of the streets of Louisiana. More members from TGB and NBA came forward. Lit Yoshi was the prime suspect in Big Dump's murder, and the gang war went all the way to Miami when YB was performing at Rolling Loud. A shootout occurred right outside the hotel he was staying in, and this was the first time something like this happened publicly in broad daylight. An innocent bystander was caught in the crossfire and pronounced dead. Meanwhile, no one from either gang was hurt, and both Youngboy and Yoshi made it out alive to wreak havoc again. But Yoshi faced many counts of attempted murder and gun possession after the shooting in Miami. So, the majority of the TGB gang were either dead or behind bars. This left Fredo Bang all alone for Youngboy to deal with personally. The diss tracks continued for a while, and both of them plan to release their new projects together in 2019. Fredo posted a story on Instagram where he said, "Guess me and my son dropping together." This made Youngboy furious, so he took it to Insta and let his thoughts out.
You a bum, you bitch ass nigga. Go dig all three of your brothers up with your scary ass. You a bitch. Stop running from me. I ain't in no competition with you.
All of these jabs at the TGB rapper didn't go unnoticed. It didn't take long for Fredo to respond with some insults of his own.
Somebody go help little brother out, bro. He angry, dog. He angry,
said Fredo as he continued to make fun of YB's tantrum. Bang was trying to come off as the calmer and more composed one out of the two in this beef. He even said that YB's girlfriends are in his DMs, making this beef way more personal than it was. Now, while this was happening, Youngboy found time to beef with another rapper too. King Von was a rapper from Chicago who was making it big in the music industry. The drama started when Von went live with Youngboy music blasting on his speakers. Shortly after listening to a few verses, he says,
"Fuck Youngboy talking about on this song, bro.
What?
You talking crazy on this man.
Oh yeah?
He ain't even like that. Oh, on his ass now."
Some say this was what started the beef, while others say that it was because of the relationship between Youngboy and Lil Durk. The thing is, Von and Durk grew up and were making music together, so any hatred that Durk had for YB would have been the same for Von, since the two were a strong unit. At first, YB let the diss slide and didn't retaliate. This wasn't like the artist because he usually claps back almost immediately like he would with G-Money, BLVD Quick, and Fredo Bang. But Von continued to poke his finger at YB by posting a picture of one of his baby mamas. Youngboy responded with what was considered a cryptic message from the artist because not many people knew who he was addressing. He posted a photo with his son on Instagram, captioning it, "I'm gone. Make sure that my son fuck your daughter since you trollin' bitch, #4KT, #pussy." This was a very weird thing for YB to say, but the fans were curious to see what was next between him and Von. Youngboy took it up a notch by linking up with Von's ex, Asian Doll, which took the beef to social media. Von tweeted a review of Asian Doll and YB's new single and called it trash. He also said that he has information about Youngboy's baby mama that could ruin his career. Cue the diss tracks, and fans were trying to decipher every lyric the two would put out. Now, other rappers hopped on the beef, most of whom were familiar, but not friends with Youngboy. Fast forward to November 6, 2020, Von found himself in a shootout outside the club and was fatally shot. He died on the spot, and everyone linked the murder to the beef with Youngboy. It's not confirmed whether or not YB was involved in the case, but he accepted the rumors willingly by releasing the track Bring the Hook, where he rapped about the consequences of Von's actions. The bigger issue was that just a few days before the shooting happened, Von told DJ Academics that the beef between him and YB wasn't that serious. In Bring the Hook, Youngboy also called out the entire O Block, which led to huge riots on the streets. Social media was buzzing with Youngboy's name, and he was on top of the world. But some people like Kayla B, King Von's sister, were seeing through YB for what he truly is.
Youngboy is just a hater. Just regardless, he's a hater. He hit on everybody.
She then said that even if her brother was murdered because of beef involving girls like Asian Doll, there is a possibility that Von was after Youngboy's girls too. In March 2021, the FBI arrested Youngboy because of a police raid that happened in September 2020, along with 16 other people. He was charged with illegal weapon possession, distribution, and manufacturing of drugs. All of this was found when YB and his gang were shooting a music video in a warehouse when the neighbors lodged a noise complaint. When the beef between YB and other rappers started to cool off because of the legal trouble he found himself in, Fredo Bang found the time to talk about what their dynamic was really like. In an interview in 2023, he said, Fredo also said that they're not enemies, nor are they friends. They just don't talk to each other. And as far as the beef was concerned, he said that there was no need to squash any beef because there was no beef to begin with. In the same year, Youngboy did an interview with Billboard, and it was probably the first time the world saw the human side of him. This was back when he was wearing an ankle monitor in his Salt Lake City mansion. He shivered throughout the interview because of the freezing temperature, but said things that fans never expected to hear from him. Being alone in his mansion with cars totaling up to millions of dollars that he couldn't drive because of his probation gave him time to self-reflect. He wanted to make things right and tell the world that he wasn't a bad person. Years of beef, discourse, diss tracks, and enemies led to this moment. It's almost as if he was done with music altogether. But right after he fulfilled his probation and the ankle monitor was off, he was back to dirty business. Today, Youngboy stays in federal custody until a court date is announced. This was after being charged with being in a prescription drug fraud ring. It looks like his criminal record is far from over. From stealing equipment for recording music when he was a minor, to murder accusations and drug fraud rings, Youngboy just can't stop getting in trouble with the law. He faces 46 charges in Utah. Some of these include patterns of unlawful activity, which we're all very familiar with. Unlawful conduct in pharmacy practices, identity fraud, and forgery. Back in 2020, King Von was considered to be one of the most dangerous and feared rappers in the game. But once he was out of the picture, and Youngboy was allegedly the reason, the title shifted immediately. His career started when he was hardly 16 years old, and anyone exposed to the rap and hip-hop community at an early age has turned out to look like a war veteran. He's made many enemies over the past years, and the fact that most of his enemies were found dead or behind bars says a lot about Gauldin's character. At just 24 years old, NBA Youngboy has released over 20 albums and mixtapes, while other rappers who've been in the game for longer have released less than half that amount. Fans have found that YB's lyricism and music have grown stale, and it's not the same without deadly beef and gang wars happening behind the scenes. Over 6 years of making music, the rapper will likely hang the towel for good. It all depends on how his trial goes. In the end, Youngboy will either walk a free man and think of his next move as an artist, or spend most of his life in a jail cell with no more chances to make bail. Gaulden has around 10 children to take care of, but it won't be much of a problem because of the millions of dollars that his career has given him. If you enjoyed this video, click on the ones showing on your screen now to watch similar content.